Okay, so the very first lesson that Chris learned is to always color inside the lines. Okay, my friends, color inside the lines. What am I talking about? Well, I'm going to just draw, we'll just draw one of these little snowflake loops here, but we'll do it on a big scale.
Oh,
so cute.
Oh my goodness.
So cute. Okay, so if you can color, if you can paint by number, you can do punch needle. But the important thing is to start your punches inside the line rather than on the line or outside the line.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay.
Mine were too big.
So you're not actually coloring.
No, it is with yarn. It is with yarn.
Okay, all right. Now I'm with you.
Yeah. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so what Chris was doing, and very understandable, is that she was punching on the line or even outside the line. I don't know how well you can see that. But when you do that,
it makes it
it's going to make it a lot bigger than what it's intended to be, right? Which also means you're going to use a lot more yarn than you need to. And
I noticed I was starting to run out of yarn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm running out of yarn.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, when I redid it and I did it inside the lines like I was supposed to, not only was it a prettier picture that it formed, but I had plenty of yarn afterwards.
Oh,
plenty.
Okay, that's a good tip.
So to go inside the lines, I'm going to do what I did to Chris. Boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Voila.
And then
you just run your finger over it and it's good to go.
Exactly.
You never even knew you had an issue, right? So inside the lines would just mean exactly what that says. You punch. I'm going to bring my tail to the back, but you're going to have your needle drop just inside like you were doing a coloring book, right? And that just makes it so that, one, you have enough yarn, but it gives it the exact shape it's supposed to have as well.
Okay.
Okay,
So
super simple, right?
Very important lesson.
Good tip right there. Another tip is to always keep your yarn nice and loose, okay? So if, for example, this was wound really tight and I'm trying to punch, pretty soon there's yarn isn't going to fly right through the needle, right? It's going to get caught. And so you might be lifting it up going, that's not staying put. Well, more likely than not, it's because you either have this wrapped too tight, so you need to make it nice and loose, loosey-goosey here, okay? And the other reason is because sometimes we'll watch how I'm holding this, Jackie. I'm holding it like this, like a pin, but maybe I've accidentally put my yarn inside my fist and tried punching. Well, again, that tight fist is going to make it so the yarn can't flow freely. So just always remember, as you're holding your punch needle, to let the yarn glide over the top, and then you won't get it caught in your fist. So that's another issue that can keep your yarn from staying put. Now the other one is, and this happens to me all the time, and that is sometimes your yarn gets caught underneath the project itself, like the corner, or maybe my elbow is on it or my hand is on it. And if that's happening, it's also not going to stay put. So if any of those things are happening where your yarn is not staying put, always check those things. Now, the final reason why this could happen, and it doesn't happen very often, but just because the nature of winding yarn on these machines that wind it for us, there are times when there could be a little knot in the yarn. And if you've checked all those other things, you might go, aha, there's a little bugger in there that's keeping me from letting that flow. So if there was a knot, you would just pull at it till the knot comes out, and then you just cut it off and start again.
Oh, good to know.
So those are some of those tips.
Okay.
Do you see how I am really, I'm not thinking about this?
This is like a stress releaser.
I think so. Oh, man. You think? You've got some aggression, girl. You just punch it out. So as you can see, I punched from the front, which made flat stitches across the front. But sometimes you want like some dimension, right? Well, look what happens on the back.
Oh, that's so fun.
Do you see the fun little loops?
Yeah.
So that means knowing that if you punch from the front, it's going to create loops on the back, right? If I were wanting the loops on the front side, where am I going to punch?
From the back.
I'm going to punch from the back. And so there's a series of steps where you will retrace just little portions of the design and put it on the back so that you can punch on that side, creating loops on the front. But here's basically where I'm talking about, and I don't know how far you can see the dimension raised up from the rest of it, the background.
Definitely,
But you can see that this red flower has loops. Right? Oh, there's a good angle. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Okay, so that's got your loops. But maybe you're looking at this flower and it's considered what we would call a flat flower. And then you're looking over here at the center of this flat flower, and this is what we call the loop and cut stitch, which means you create the loops, giving it the height, but then you cut across the top of it with your scissors, and the end result is like this shag rug, which is really, really fun too.
One of the things that I love about this too, Kim, is that you give us so many different techniques that we can try out.
We got to keep it interesting, right?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I even love the little flowers. Those roses are beautiful.
Yes, and that's just, you know, a hand embroidery stitch. You're also going to get your hand embroidery needles in there if there's something that needs it. And even if it's just sewing on the buttons, we include the needles in every kit.
Wow.
So that you have everything, literally everything you need to finish this. But these little rosebuds are a fun hand embroidery stitch called the wagon wheel that many of you may be familiar with, but we did it now with yarn.
Oh, I love it.
And then same with like the leaf stitch. That's a really fun technique as well.
Wow.
So it keeps things fresh and interesting instead of doing the same punch over and over.
I love all the things.
So
I love all
of it kind of works together to give it some fun.
It's so cute.
So Kim, tell us about the pinch and pull.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me do another example over here. I'm stitching across this line, and I'm doing what we would consider a flat stitch, right? So I'm starting here at the top, I'm pulling my tail to the back, and then I just start punching. Now, when you punch, you want to punch all the way to the base of the handle. Do you notice how I don't see any gold portion of my needle showing?
Okay. Yeah.
Keep that in mind. All right, and when you do that, you punch all the way to the base, then your stitches truly are going to lay nice and flat, right? But if you get to a point where you're kind of going along and you're like, okay, I'm just going to do it a little bit, and I've raised it maybe too high when I pulled my needle out of the fabric, and I've raised it almost too high off of the fabric, and then I go down and I've raised it too high again, or I didn't punch all the way to the base. You're going to have some loops that you don't want to have on the flat side, right? So I do what I call the pinch and pull. Now you certainly could just take all of this out, but why if you can just fix it by simply turning this over on the other side and take your hand and just pinch those yarns and then pull them up. Pinch and pull, pinch and pull. So watch what happens to these little guys when I do that from underneath.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes it lay nice and flat.
Yes.
And you're good to go. Okay,
I
so
love that.
the pinch and pull is something I use all the time. I just want a nice, flat, clean stitch,
Well, especially
and I don't want to have to undo it.
Especially when you're doing the backgrounds on this, I can see.
This one, you will absolutely use the pinch and pull method all the time.
I think Jackie needs to try her hand at this a little bit.
I want you to take a close look at this needle here. Do you see how you've got like this little scooped edge, right?
Yes.
I want you to always think about that like a spoon. So if you were dipping this into a bowl of cereal, you would always keep that spoon facing up, right? Or else you're gonna have milk all over you. So keep that spoon up. Now underneath that spoon is the little hole underneath. So this is your rounded edge underneath, and you have a little tiny hole. All right, now we're going to take our needle threader. Now on one end of the threader, you're going to have a little white tab, and on the other end, it's bent. It's just this little wire that's bent. You're going to put that up through the hole from underneath, right?
Okay.
And then you're going to bend the wire so it now goes through the tunnel to the very end. All right?
Okay.
So
go ahead, Jackie.
And here it's going to come out the other
Can
end.
you believe this is one of the things that scared me?
Look at that.
From the beginning was, how do I thread the needle?
That is like...
It's so easy.
Okay.
So simple.
So once you've done that, let's move you right here. Now you're just going to put your yarn through that loop, right?
Okay.
Just like that. And now pull on the tab. And that yarn's going to come out the bottom hole.
Oh my goodness.
Simple.
Okay, well,
Right?
folks, if I can do it, you can do it. No. There we go.
Jackie, good job. Good job. Now, once you've done that, Jackie, you're going to punch once again all the way to the base till it can't go any further. And you're going to jump about 1/4 of an inch. Now, one thing to remember, again, your spoon is always facing
Always up.
towards you.
Okay.
Like you're drinking, you're eating some cereal, right? And the tip of your needle is always pointing in the direction that you're going.
And it's always on the canvas. It's resting on that canvas,
Yes,
too.
and so when you lift it up, it's going to rest on the canvas. So let me show you a couple things. Some tutorials out there will say, count how many holes to jump. And I go,
That's a
no
lot.
way. I don't want to do that. I want this to be a no-stress project. So instead, you know what 1/4 inch looks like,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
About, in your mind, you're going to think 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and you're just going to keep punching.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay.
And when you pull your needle out of the project, you want to just glide it across the top of your fabric there. Okay, so you don't want to pull up too high, but if you did, you just do the pinch and pull method to bring it down, right? Let me see what you're doing.
Look at this.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
Jackie,
doing
that's
it.
perfect.
I'm
It's
doing
perfect.
it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you just did it.
Okay, now I stop.
Now you stop.
No,
Well, let's see what it looks like on the back, okay? Oh, Jackie, star student right there.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at
Okay.
those little loops. But do you see that there's like some gaps in
Yes.
between each loop? And you're
Yeah.
thinking, how in the world is this going to stay in? You got to trust the process.
Okay.
Because what you're going to do is you're turning this needle to do the next row of stitches right above
Oh,
it. But
okay.
this time, you are going to offset your stitches like a brick.
It's like you're offsetting.
them.
Yes, you're offsetting the
Okay,
stitches.
there you go.
Way
I
to
got
go.
that. I
Okay?
got it.
So if you think of like subway tile, right?
Yes.
Or bricks.
Yes.
You're offsetting those stitches. Okay, so with that, with that in mind,
Whew.
so we're going to now go back to the line, just butting it up, right? Pretty close to the line before, but do
Okay.
you notice where my needle is now dropping?
Is in the center
It's
of
in the
that
center
loop.
of the previous stitch,
Okay.
right?
Gotcha.
Thus, you have bricks or subway tile or offsetting or however you want
Yes.
to call it.
That is really
That's
pretty.
really
And
pretty.
let's look at the back.
Oh,
it's filled
yes.
in. There's
Filled
no
in.
gaps, right? So it's those loops, how you're stitching them together, and so they're kind of nestle in with each other. That is what is working so that they don't fall out.
Yeah.
Now,
Wow.
the other thing to remember, you don't have to be perfect with this.
Oh, yes.
Don't worry
Very
about
forgiving.
getting the perfect 1/4 inch.
Don't get
Again,
your measuring tape out.
heavens no. You will drive yourself bonkers.
Yeah.